and whatever I'm going to tell you now is kind of childish a little bit, but I want to create like a solution that can create any solution kind of thing.
Are we human beings gonna still work, or is AI gonna take over us?
Definitely, AI will be taking over a lot. You know, everybody suffers from that, and I think it's a bit of a cliche now. When it comes to AI, I think it's an incredible tool if applied correctly in any type of field. So that's a tough question. We always thought that you know, aliens would come in and they would challenge us. This is where it becomes really interesting. Let's build super intelligence. We want you to deploy an AI in an afternoon. It's really difficult. Tell it what you want and it just happens. If you think about it today, you can deploy it today. You're basically crazy.
Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of the AI Business Show, the show where you'll best learn about tech, entrepreneurship, and business. Today, I have with me Ahmed. Ahmed is a founder in the AI space. I'm excited to learn more about the space and what Ahmed is doing. Ahmed, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ahmed. Pleasure being here.
We have a double Ahmed today, so it's going to be a special episode.
You can call me Abaza if you want. So
Okay.
this is
No,
the name that I go by.
Okay. Here's the question. What is AI?
What is AI? So very simply, basically, if you can look at programming, if programming is somebody just writing, you know, a certain type of logic for the computer to follow, AI is basically software written by data. So so you basically give the computer some data, you run it through an algorithm, and the algorithm basically writes your logic or writes the way the software should run. So that's a very, very simple, you know, explanation of what AI is.
Okay. We've been reading, I think it's been 6 months, the hype of AI has raised and everyone is talking about AI.
Yes.
Is AI going to take over human beings? Are we human beings going to still work, or is AI going to take over us?
That's a very, you know, controversial question a little bit, but so what's really different about AI is that I think it competes with us as basically, you know, as machines. They compete with us on an intelligence level. So they actually compete with kind of the knowledge worker kind of jobs. So will AI take over us? It will definitely take over. So definitely there are some jobs that, you know, even jobs that are, for example, in the creative space, where many people thought that maybe AI is not will never compete with us in the creative space, where, for example, you want to write a dramatic script, or you want to write a song, or you want to, you know, write music, create a certain piece of art. But now, especially in the last 6 months, this has been more and more apparent. So using ChatGPT, for example, you can create like a very interesting marketing captions. You can generate like infinite amount of them. You can generate like very, very cool graphics for your posts, for example. So definitely AI will be taking over a lot of our a lot of existing jobs. Now, it will also generate new kind of jobs. It will also generate new kind of caliber and new kind of talent. So how, if you're, for example, an artist, or if you're a marketeer, how can you put such a very powerful tool to your advantage, and how can you make use of it to, you know, be more productive, create more effective campaigns, for example, or create like bigger, better pieces of art. So definitely it will take some jobs, but it will definitely create a new type of caliber, a new type of knowledge worker, a new type of jobs altogether. Because, of course, as I said, AI is just software written by data. So it always requires data. So maybe there will be some, you know, creativity in generating some sort or some types of data that will create better AIs and so on. So there would be definitely more new jobs coming into the market, but at the same time, of course, some of the more traditional jobs will definitely be replaced or taken over by AI.
Okay. Speaking about that, David Friedberg, I, I, he's part of the All In podcast. He's a famous investor, has worked in the biotech industry. He has a very he has a phrase he said, and that caught my eye. He said, "We humans went from being laborers, where we worked in the field, we built stuff, to being creators, where we created software, we created buildings and designs, and now we're gonna be narrators. So through AI, we're gonna be able to sit down, speak what we want, and through different systems out there, we're gonna be able to get that movie we want to watch or that book we want to read just through narrating what we wanna get out of the system." Do you agree kind of on this human phases of where we've been to where we're going?
Yes, definitely. We always have been creating machines and have been creating like I think humans are magnificent tool builders, and we create innovations to better our lives and to create more, to make our lives basically more convenient, and we are able to, adapt to any type of environment and so on. And I think what's really unique about AI that we're finally have reached the point where we're creating a tool that can actually create other tools as well.
Okay.
So this is where it becomes really interesting because we have never been, challenged against based on our intelligence. We always thought that aliens would come in and they would challenge us. They are more intelligent beings, and they challenge us on on who controls planet Earth, and we're like these fighters who fight the aliens and so on. But actually, we are the creators of the machines that might supersede our intelligence. So this is where it's really interesting, and this is where this is a completely new territory for, I think, the human race as a whole.
Okay. What is the state of AI in the regions today, in the MENA region?
In the MENA region. So we basically, so let me tell you, and whatever I'm going to tell you now is very much biased by my experience with
Okay.
Synapse. We work in operating machine learning. So we have a platform that basically helps AI and data scientists to operationalize or to deploy their machine learning algorithms or deploy their AIs, and basically have all the monitoring and controls to be able to manage it in production and make sure that the AI doesn't go rogue, and it still produces acceptable results and results that are helpful for the business. Now, from that part, we actually haven't seen a lot of especially in a business context, we have not seen a lot of like mature AI teams. So, or AI teams that are able to push AIs into production and are actually using AI in a more of a live manner and so on. So I think it's definitely progressing. So when we started in 2017, excuse me, I'm just out of a very bad cold, so this is
No
why I'm
worries.
having a of nose problems. So back in 2018, when we first started, we barely seen any data scientists or any machine learning engineers in any companies, given if they were like multinationals or local startups or like local players and so on. Now it's becoming more commonplace. So a lot of companies are hiring data scientists and hiring machine learning engineers to be able to explore how to use this technology to their benefit. It's still it's still in experimental mode, I believe. So I'm not sure I can see, and this is also very much based on my experience. Of course, I haven't seen like every company in the region, but I don't think there is like a significant, AI use case that has been built in the region and has created like an enormous impact. So,
Okay.
um, uh, of course, like through Synapse, this is what we do. So this is where we help companies to actually be. So we help them to actually adopt AI and machine learning in a live manner, and we have helped more than 45 companies to do so. And they're actually using AI in a live manner. So AI is taking daily decisions, and these decisions affect the business in every way. So though from another side, usually, so with ChatGPT, for example, ChatGPT, of course, is an incredible use case. It leverages transformers and basically like large language models and so on, and it creates this very, very accessible experience with everyone to use AI, and people are using it in every way.
Yes.
And to be honest, I'm super excited about ChatGPT. I'm super excited about Midjourney, DALL-E, and all of these new AI softwares that are coming out. And I have a mix of like a little bit of relief and grief. So I'm very impressed and I'm very excited about these technologies. Yet what I would have wished for, that these technologies would come out from a different place rather than just Silicon Valley and so on. And of course,
this is a
yeah.
question I wanted to ask. We in the region, and Tambi from Propeller says this, we in the region are consumers of technology and not producers of technology. We always receive the technology that Silicon Valley gives us. We don't produce technology in the region. How can we change that? And it's going from AI, how can we start being producers of technology?
Yeah, that's actually a very good insight. I think, yes, we are more consumers of technology, but then again, you also have to put in mind that we're very early in our like startup innovation kind of life. We're just, as opposed to Silicon Valley, we're just starting out. We're just starting out new companies, and we're experimenting with new tech. And of course, I think these innovation would create more innovations in terms of the technology, in terms of creating new technologies that are more adaptable to us. I think it would create more people that are exposed to certain gaps in the market, and these people would go out and create technologies to fill these gaps and so on. So yeah, I think the current state we're more of consumers, not creators, but I think it's changing.
Okay.
And also one of the things in the region, it's so for us, for example, it was very hard, for example, for a company like Synapse to actually go through fundraising and so on, because we want to create technology rather than want to create like proprietary technology. So all of our technology, we have built it from scratch, and of course it's difficult because the region is not known for these types of innovations, right? And of course, from an investor perspective, if you look at, for example, a company like Synapse in Egypt, as opposed to companies work, for example, in the MLOps or machine learning operations field in the US or in Europe and so on, they'll be concerned on more than a few levels. First of all, of course, like these companies usually who are based in the US or based in Europe, they would have like a list of, for example, PhDs from Ivy League universities and so on. So it creates more of credibility of the company based on more reputation rather than actual skill, because at the end of the day, sometimes reputation is what puts the investor at ease rather than actually how good the talent the company are. So yes, so of course most of these markets have a lot of these PhDs who are graduates from like MIT and Harvard and London School of Business and so on, and this of course creates like a very fertile environment for companies to create innovations in tech and so on, and they can work in very heavy like R&D kind of projects for more than a few years, and they can easily get funding and so on, because the investor knows that these guys would probably do something, right? As opposed to here there's more emphasis on like growth, revenue, market penetration, rather than the R&D itself. And I think the kind of investor that invests here is not looking for like a ChatGPT kind of thing,
Right.
but they're looking for more companies that do, for example, any type of like consumer business, and they want the quick growth and quick cash and so on.
Right.
But again, this is because we're very early in our innovation lifetime, and maybe as we grow, as the ecosystem grows, and as startups, start growing, and we have more success stories, you'll find people who have seen, the journey, and they have identified a few gaps in technology, and they go out and build companies that are specialized in these gaps. And maybe we can see changes in when it comes to like creation of technology rather than just consuming technology.
Okay. Now, I want to go back and ask a little bit about, uh, in terms of AI in the region and your experience through working with Synapse, what are the gaps and pain points you see in the region in terms of AI? Like, how can we advance ourselves? Is it talent? Is it more funding? What's the problem that's preventing us from advancing AI in the region?
So I think it's as of the current system, I think it's more of like the full ecosystem of innovation in general, and
Okay.
the nature of innovation in the region. So of course, everybody suffers from that, and I think it's a bit of a cliche now. Everybody says it, that we have lack of talent and so on and so forth. And I think the lack of talent really comes in the senior talent gap, not in the junior talent, because you find a lot of brilliant like young engineers, and they're solving a lot of very interesting problems. But when it comes to like senior talent who have seen, AI in production for like mass scale or massive scale operations and so on, and they've seen all the pitfalls that AI falls in when it comes to, scaling services or scaling basically any type of operations. They have dealt with it. They know where the gaps are. They can react really quickly to it. I don't think we have this experience here. So we don't have. So for example, you can find in a lot of companies like a principal engineer who has like 5 years experience, as opposed to a principal engineer, for example, in Microsoft or Amazon or so forth. They have more than 15 years experience, right? So yeah. So I think in terms of the senior talent, the market really lacks a lot of the senior talent. Although I think many of them are coming back here to the region, and they're creating their own startups, and maybe some of them are also coming back and actually leading teams in some of the bigger startups and so on. So this is definitely is seeding basically the ecosystem of these senior talents, mentoring a lot of junior talents, and then they come out, and then the cycle would go on. Of course, access to research labs and research machines to be able to use these machines, for example, in training new algorithms, in experimenting and so on. And I think this is also one of like the research facility kind of a format that I think we are a bit lacking. Although again, maybe in the Gulf region and so on, there has been some progress in that aspect, and I think there are like some research facilities that are opening up that people can go in and leverage, for example, these machines to create new experiments and so on and so forth. Also the use case itself. So I'm not sure if you heard about the what's the name, the AlphaFold.
Right.
AlphaFold
Of course.
algorithm that
Yes.
basically,
You could change the genes and figure out the protein
proteins, yeah,
shape.
it
Yeah.
predicts basically the 3D structure of proteins and so on. So this is an excellent use case for AI. So it's not just AI building, it's not just about building algorithms, it's also about creating and building use cases in healthcare, for example, in biology research. So with the maturity of the research field in general, in the field, in the region, in biology, in chemistry, in physics, and so on, AI, I think, is an enabler to these type of researches and these types of innovations. So
Right.
I think if we have a better research environment from universities, collaboration, collaborative environments from universities, government, startups, companies, multinationals, and money start flowing in, and researchers are starting to become more and more funded, I think this would all be very fruitful for the AI as an industry.
Okay. And you mentioned this, and this is a question I was going to ask. What we're seeing now in general in the world is we're hearing a lot more about the generative side of AI, Mid-Journey, ChatGPT, Dolly, whatever. We're not hearing a lot of like companies that work on use cases, just like you mentioned, in biotech, in health tech, in communication tech, in telecommunication tech to use AI to improve these. Are we gonna hear more of these use cases? Or if you're in the space, so maybe you've heard more about these use cases, if you could share some of them.
Um, so I'm sorry, I didn't get the question. So
So,
what is the question exactly?
what I'm saying is now all we hear about is generative AI,
Yeah,
Mid-Journey and stuff. We're not hearing more about the use cases of like
yeah,
in
okay.
biotech or in health tech. What are some examples, or how could you see AI helping bigger use cases than just creating an image or creating a text?
Yeah, so of course, so just as I said, like the AlphaFold is an incredible breakthrough. I think in so usually just to predict like the 3D structure of proteins, usually I think it took more than a few years to be able to just create one 3D structure for a protein. Now with AlphaFold, I think it takes almost no time, in a few seconds, just to create it. So this is one thing. I think there are a lot of opportunities, for example, when it comes to climate change, energy optimization, preventative medicine, supply network design. So I think the use cases are infinite, the possibilities really. So when it comes to AI especially, um, I think it's an incredible tool if applied correctly in any type of field. I think it can really change the way the industry works. All that's needed is just really identifying the best use case in every industry to apply this technology, and definitely the results would be incredible.
Okay. Uh, you started Synapse Analytics.
Yeah,
What caused you to start it, and what do you do at Synapse?
yeah. So so actually, one of the things, I'm always a very curious person. So I'm very curious about everything, and also I'm a big, of course, I'm a big video gamer as well, um, and I just wanted to really, it's kind of childish a little bit, but I want to create like a solution that can create any solution kind of
Okay.
thing. So basically, I want to learn about physics, I want to learn about chemistry, I want to learn about philosophy, learn about and do things, for example, in build companies, like for example solves things in energy, that solves things in healthcare, for example, and so on. So I think kind of the thinking behind it, with me and my co-founder Galal Bishbishi, we really want to create, like like a tool that can help us solve any problem that we want. So this
Okay.
is, like the how we started thinking about it. So actually, the very first thought about when we started Synapse was actually, let's build super intelligence. That was the primary motive behind Synapse Analytics. And of course, back in 2017, 2018, if you come to somebody and told them, I'm building, I'm trying to build a company that solves super intelligence, of course they'll tell you you're basically crazy, and this is not going to happen. Actually, now it's becoming a little bit more,
Acceptable.
comprehensible with the things like ChatGPT and so on. So definitely the company started out of really out of curiosity. So we were very curious about AI. Let's build AI. Let's see how it can work. And Galal and I just went for it. And yeah, we've built more than a few solutions when it comes to enterprise AI, especially now. Uh, uh, but again, yeah, we believe that really it's a solution for that would create other solutions as well, that would expedite solving a lot of the major problems that we see around us.
Okay.
Now we're
Uh,
solving business problems, but hopefully at some point we can solve more like global problems. So what we do at Synapse, very quickly, we basically help other companies to adopt AI in their operations and their marketing and so on. We have an MLOps or machine learning operations platform that hosts every type of AI possible. And on top of this platform, we have what we call like applied AI use cases. So, for example, if you're a financial company looking to build an AI model to do your risk assessments, we have like ready to use AI credit scoring models that are ready to use end to end without you, needing to get this know-how or hire like teams to be able to do it. You can just plug and play with our platform. So this is the kind of stuff that we do.
Okay. Can you give me other than the financial sector, what other use
Yeah,
cases are you
sure.
working on?
Sure. So we have use cases when it comes to, for example, supply network design. So for example, if you have warehouses, and these warehouses basically supply other warehouses, and they supply, for example, cross docks or branches and so on. So we have a platform that you can just upload your data. How many trucks do you have? How many branches do you work with? How many warehouses? Where are the locations of these warehouses and so on? And basically the AI would spit out how can you plan your supply network to be able to be more efficient, save fuel, save energy, be faster to reach your customers and so on. So this is another use case. A third use case, we have a platform called Ask a Vision, which basically from the CCTV cameras, we're able to extract a lot of insights of traffic, for example, for malls, for example. So we can tell you in the fashion category, for example, how many people did store A attract versus store B versus store C and so on. And we do like a little bit of demographic analysis. We understand basically the nature of traffic. So how many women, how many men, how many children, and so on. And we can, of course, do like heat mapping, customer journey analysis, license plate recognition, and so on. We have also use cases in healthcare. We have many use cases. So I can, yeah.
Okay. Through all that, you speak about something that's very important, which is data. And you need data. You need data to function any model, because let's say in credit scoring, you have the model ready, but to be
Yeah.
able to get the results, you need the data from the companies you work with.
Yeah.
And I think people who start working in AI have hardships getting the data. How do you
Yeah.
get a large amount of data? Where do you find these data points? How do you get them, basically?
So basically through partnerships. So we
Okay.
we partner with some of our clients, and basically they give us, for example, access to their data, and then we tell them, all right, so can we use this data? Can we use the intelligence that was built on it? So we don't use the data itself. We use just the intelligence that was built on the data with other clients for a revenue share model, for example. And sometimes they accept, sometimes they don't. But if they accept, of course, this is great for us because we believe that company, for example, the intelligence built on companies A data is incredible and can help a lot of other companies in the field. So if they allow us to use the intelligence, now we can use it with other companies as well. So this is one thing. We have, of course, as a company, we are an AI company, so of course we have like a data acquisition strategy, and we have a data acquisition team that basically creates these types of partnerships to be able to feed our models.
Okay. I want to take your opinions about one company, which is Tesla. Is Tesla really ahead in the game of AI, or are other companies at the same level of Tesla, in your own opinion, or from what you know about the industry?
So I really believe that any company. So for example, okay, let's talk, for example, about OpenAI. So OpenAI, for example, they showcased like ChatGPT and Dolly and so on. I really believe that every technology that you're seeing right now that is open to the public, I think the company behind it is probably a few years ahead of this technology that is existing already.
Okay.
So about Tesla, especially, I'm not really, I don't really follow Tesla that closely. But I think, of course, AI research is booming in the US, of course, and Elon Musk was actually, I think, one of the backers for OpenAI, I think,
Yes.
in the early days. So definitely, it's AI is on his radar, and this guy usually does a lot of stuff when it comes to the things he's interested in. Yeah, so I think definitely AI in the US market is big. It's really advanced, and what I really wish for, and I really dream about, and I really hope that Synapse can be a pioneer in this, or maybe not just Synapse, but in general. I really wish that the next phase of technological evolution, basically, especially when it comes to AI, comes out of this region rather than the traditional Silicon Valley kind of companies. And I really hope that that does happen at some point.
You say you have a mission to make AI possible and usable for everyone. How do you plan on doing that?
Yeah. So basically, what we do right now is the real problem when it comes to AI is actually not building the AI itself. Of course, there's a lot of obstacles when it comes to building AI, but usually most AI use cases, especially when it comes to like businesses and so on, it's not really that hard to build it, right?
Okay.
I think that the main obstacle is usability of the artificial intelligence. So, for example, let's take the ChatGPT model, since it's very relevant to everyone. Large language models have existed for some time now, and transformers, the basic architecture that ChatGPT was built upon, it's really accessible, and the research paper for it is publicly available and so on. Of course, not I don't want to include like the computing power that OpenAI have access to and so on, but just building like these day-to-day AIs is really not that hard. The real problem comes when you actually want to use this AI. You want this AI to take decisions in your business, and you are able to act on these decisions. It's really difficult
Okay.
because, first of all, you want to make sure that the AI is predicting the right prediction. You want to make sure that AI is getting the right kind of data with the same format. You want the people who are using this AI to trust it, so you have to build them like what we call explainability. So basically, they want to see the reasoning behind the AI decision. There are compliance and regulations, things that you have to maneuver to make sure that you are compliant and you're not trespassing any like laws and so on. You need to make sure that you have the right infrastructure to be able to scale up and down your artificial intelligence. So really operating AI is really difficult. And this is what we're trying to solve, right? So with our platform, basically companies have like an out of the box vehicle to operate their AI. So they just host their AI onto our platform, and then they can drive it anywhere. We give them all the controls and the levers they need, and they don't have to go through hoops just to make sure their AI is successful. So this is one thing. This is our very, very first step. Now, the second step is, and this is what we have launched our very, very first applied use case this year. So we want you not also we don't want you to care about how you're going to build the AI. We want you to have the AI actually built, and you can just plug it into your like technology environment, and it can adapt to it and work with it right away. So this is what we call applied AI use cases. So this is the way we're doing it. So we first solved the problem of operating AI and be able to speak with it and adapt and for it to adapt to your business and so on. And now the second step is, we don't actually want you to go through the hassle of building it itself. We can build it for you very, very easily, or you can just use any of the pre-trained AIs that are already existing and just to power your business. So we're really trying to so what we call it, like internally, we want you to deploy an AI in an afternoon. So that's if you just took a nap and just woke out of the nap, and you want to build AI, for example, to to order your groceries whenever you're out of stuff to eat, for example, in the fridge, and the AI just does that for you automatically without you knowing anything about it. So really what we want to do, we want to abstract AI as much as we can,
Okay.
and basically have it, you can just tell it what you want, and it just happens. This is the
Okay.
kind of things
So,
we're trying to solve.
So basically, you want people to see the use case of AI without having to think how it was built and why it was built. Just see the use case. You
Yeah,
enjoy the use case.
yeah. So actually, yeah. So work with the AI. You
Right.
don't have to work a lot just to build your very first use case. So you can, if you think about it today, you can deploy it today. So that's the kind of thinking that that's the kind of problems that we want to solve.
Ahmed, let's say you weren't building Synapse right now. What other startup idea do you have in mind that you would want to build?
Yeah, I have a lot of ideas. So it's one of the things actually I think living in working in entrepreneurship is that you're never out of ideas. So
Right.
I think I'm really blessed to be working in something that I love and I'm able to sustain myself, sustain my family doing so. But I really, like, every day I think of like a million ideas and I get super excited about companies that I want to work with. I've so one of the things that are definitely on my list. So I really want to work in something that has to do with climate,
Okay.
and with climate change and with like energy optimization and so on. I have more than a few ideas, for example, when it comes to uh, education and really personalizing education through storytelling, and basically you're put in scenarios where you can, for example, use mathematical concepts that you learned or physics concepts that you learned to make it more tangible um, and more intuitive, basically. I have a few ideas when it comes to, for example, healthcare and virtual twins and so on. So really, really, this is, I think, one of the symptoms of being an entrepreneur, working entrepreneurship. Every single day you find a new gap in the market, and you just have to discipline yourself not to attack it right now, and work on what you have right now and scale it and so on, and then maybe you can work on other stuff as well. So
This is kind of my last question. Because you're in the AI ecosystem in the region, who's another player in the region you look at that you say, okay, this guy is doing great stuff in AI in the region that maybe if you had a fund, you'd invest in him or in the startup he's doing?
uh, that's a tough question. So who in AI especially,
Or if not in
I'm
AI, in the
in the
technology or startup
startup
ecosystem.
ecosystem. Yeah.
Yes.
So who am I excited about? Uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So this is not so. I'm excited about a lot of people and a lot of startups. So it's just very hard to choose from one of them. So one of the guys who are really interesting is a company called Portment. I'm not sure if you heard about them.
No. What do they do?
They're kind of disrupting the real tech space. So they do like
Okay.
they have a very interesting model where you can co-own second homes. So
Okay.
so basically, if you want to own like a home in Greece, for example, so you just you can co-own it with me and with like six other people, and we can have like access to the home any time of the year. And if I want to just get out of it, I can just sell basically my shares and get the upside and go invest in another company. So these guys are really exciting.
Okay.
Uh, who else? Yeah, yeah,
You gave me Portman. That's
yeah.
that's good enough.
So apartment, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Ahmed, thank you for a great episode. I really enjoyed it. I learned more about AI and what's happening in AI in the region and how you're thinking about AI and what you're solving. Where could people follow more what you're doing? How could people get in contact with you or know more of what Synapse or you are doing?
Sure. So I'm really accessible through LinkedIn. I'm sorry that you sent. I know you sent me yesterday.
No, no worries, no worries.
I just have been very much involved with work, so I didn't check my messages. But definitely through LinkedIn, we actually have a research arm that's called Techqualia. Um, and what Aqualia does, basically, they engage the community. So that we have like best-selling authors writing their views of AI on our publication. They just created their very first tech Aqualia AI gallery. So it was just hosted in Egypt, where you can go through a lot of artworks that were built by artists using AI and so on. Yeah, so linked. I think I'm fairly accessible. uh I just sometimes I just miss out on my like LinkedIn and so on, but definitely I come back around and look at all the messages and so on.
Are you hiring at Synapse? Is there any positions you're looking to fill?
I'm sorry?
Are you hiring at Synapse? Is there any positions you're hiring for?
Always hiring at Synapse. So we're always hiring like data scientists, machine learning engineers, software engineers.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, I think we're always hiring, of course. So please just check our website or check our pages on like LinkedIn and Facebook, and you'll find always some new posts that we're hiring.
But again, thank you so much for the great episode. Continued success and hopefully to see Synapse and you creating more and more use cases and more AI tools.
Thank you very much, Ahmed. It was a real pleasure being with you.